Hi, excursionists. I have some exciting news. Into the Night Anthology is officially partnering up with our friends at A Fool's Quest. This means some exciting new things will be happening in the coming months, and I will keep you updated as new stuff comes around. The same twisted bite-sized stories you have come to expect will continue to be available every other Excursion Thursday as always. Thank you for continuing to join me on this journey, and I am so glad to have you all with me as we move forward into this new chapter. Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Saguaros at sunrise. The lonesome howl of a coyote echoed through the darkened canyon. Kane Hartzell knew the sound. He knew loneliness, too. In the velvet darkness, he felt a strange kinship with the mournful wail. Lost in his thoughts, he sensed the emotion of each strained howl. The chorus of yips that suddenly joined the solitary cry was a crude reminder, however, that no one was as alone as Kane tonight. The sand of the arroyo made the softest bed he'd slept on for days. I'm getting too old for this. Kane stared up at the stars shining in the desert sky. His horse Buck gave a low whinny. I know, old fella. I don't need to convince you. We've been doing this for far too long. His thoughts drifted through the events of the past months that brought him to this empty Arizona night. Buck, I'm not sure how we managed to get both the bandits and the law after us all at once. If horses could talk, Buck would have told him that the answer was easy. Helena McIntyre. She was a looker, sweet as an angel, and the daughter of the local marshal. That was a bad combination for Kane, or any other man who came calling on Helena. She didn't try to attract men. They were simply drawn to her. Innocence caused her to not see the danger this presented for her, but Gus McIntyre, her father, understood it all too well. If he had his way, no man would ever marry his daughter. Word had it that she was all he had left after an Indian raid years before had killed his wife and 2 sons. Coming home as quickly as he could when he'd spotted the smoke on the horizon, he found devastation where his home once stood. The boys, 8 and 10, fell with muskets in their hands. His beloved Tess was murdered while running from the orchard toward the house. Certain he'd lost everyone, he thought his mind played tricks on him when he heard whimpering from behind the cellar door. There sat 3-year-old Helena, crumpled in the corner with her hands over her ears. She screamed at first when Gus picked her up, but then clung to him with the grip no grown man could have released. From that moment on, nothing mattered to Gus McIntyre but protecting his little girl. I can't blame him at all, Kane spoke to the night air. Helena is remarkable. I just wish Gus understood that I'm on his side. There's nothing I want more than to protect her. The distant call of an owl floated on the breeze, and the stirring of a night creature caused Buck to twitch his ears and scan the surroundings. It's okay, boy. That owl won't do us any harm. These critters are the least of our problems right now. Never far from his thoughts, his mind wandered back to Helena, and more specifically, to the first time they met. A chance meeting on the street brought their worlds together. Struggling to carry her packages down the plank sideways on a dusty early summer day, he steadied her elbow as she almost took a tumble. Here, ma'am. Let me help you with those. She smiled, and for the first time since he was a boy, he saw something familiar in the eyes of another person. Transfixed on one another, it took her a moment to reply. Why, yes, thank you. I think I got a little carried away at the mercantile, but Pa's birthday is coming soon, and I wanted to surprise him. I'm happy to help. Where do you need these to go? My buggy is down the street, but if you don't mind, we can't go directly to it. I need us to go through the alley and come around from the back. Kane cocked his head and gave her a skeptical look. Are you hiding from someone? Are you afraid? Oh, heavens no. We just can't pass by the marshal's office. I'm confused. Do you have trouble with the law? Kane wondered what his Good Samaritan attitude had gotten him into this time. The enchanting girl laughed. Oh no, my pa's the marshal, silly. I don't want him to see these packages or my surprise will be ruined. The breath he held escaped his lips. Well, in that case, let's get these safely through the back way. That's mighty sweet of you to do that for your pa. I appreciate your help. I'm sorry I haven't even introduced myself. I'm Helena McIntyre. Pleased to meet you, ma'am. My name's Kane Hartzell. I'm glad I came along. This town's kind of rough, and a lady as pretty as you shouldn't be cutting through alleys alone. Oh, now, I don't think anyone is going to bother me. Besides, they'd have to deal with Pa if they did. Kane wasn't so sure. He saw the glint in the eyes of the men they passed on their way down the sidewalk. He'd seen that look before. Cold, hard men had a habit of taking what they wanted, and it was clear they all wanted Helena McIntyre. A wave of protectiveness washed over him. They walked leisurely along, both captivated by the other. He remembered what his mama had told him years ago. You'll know you found the right one, Kane, when the sound of her voice makes your heart happy. Looks will come and go, but when you're old and gray, that voice is what you'll have to keep your love strong. Dear sweet Ma, what he wouldn't give for more time with her. Cholera stole years from him, leaving Kane an orphan at 15. One thing he knew for certain was that Miss Helena's voice spoke to his soul. Lost in conversation, what must have been an hour or more passed after they loaded her purchases into the buggy. Oh my, I need to head home so I can start supper for Pa. I hate to end our conversation, Kane. I do too. Say, can I see you again? Helena looked away and bit her lip. I'm sorry. I was too forward. Kane stepped back, the stabbing pain of loneliness returning. As he turned to walk away with the tip of his hat, Helena reached out, grabbing his hand. A spark passed between the two. Oh, please don't go. I'm the one who should apologize. Tears formed in her green eyes. More than anything, I want to see you again. It's just... Helena, I'm nothing but a broke cowpoke. No need to explain. A fine lady like you deserves a gentleman. That's not it at all, Kane. You are a true gentleman. It's just my pa. He won't let me have any callers. Ever since Ma and my brothers died, he's kept me safe. But he's too protective. It's not his fault, really. He's still so hurt. I'd love to see you, Helena, but I can understand why your pa would want to protect you. You are the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. With that, they both blushed. Kane? Yes? The pleading in his eyes was mirrored in hers. What he doesn't know won't hurt, right? A smile crept across his face. Why, no, Miss Helena, it won't. Would you be able to join me for a buggy ride tomorrow out to Parsons Creek? Mr. Hartzell, I'd be honored. She curtsied, and the two broke into laughter. Meet me at noon at the Big Bend. She squeezed his hand and reluctantly climbed aboard her buggy. Buck neighed into the night, bringing Kane back to the deserted canyon. I know, boy. We were wrong to sneak around behind his back. I know that now. I knew it then. Now, here we are. Buck pawed the ground as though he was as annoyed as Kane at the recent turn of events. It seems like we've been through this time after time, always ending up on the run just when we think we might find the real thing. I really thought Helena and I had a chance. Kane knew in his heart they'd played a dangerous game meeting in secret, but how could he resist her? She was all his heart had ever longed for. We'd have had a chance, Buck, if Indigo McCrae hadn't come along. Indigo McCrae. The name alone struck terror in the hearts of most. Somehow, Cain sensed that he'd hated the man even before he ever met him. Just thinking about him made the night feel more sinister. Things were going swell until that scoundrel. Cain couldn't even say it. When he thought how close McCrae came to attacking sweet Helena, he couldn't contain his anger. That otherwise perfect day, when she waited for him under the oak near Parsons Creek, was doomed. Indigo and his gang snuck up on her, and Cain didn't want to think what could have happened if he hadn't arrived when he did. The shouting, the scuffle, the smell of gunpowder, the crimson blood trickling out of the corner of McCrae's mouth after Cain's bullet pierced his chest. "We'll see you in hell, Hartzell. You won't get away with killing the boss. We will hunt you down if it's the last thing we ever do." The gang of angry men closed in on him. Cain held Helena close, as the sound of pounding hooves drove the bandits off. Shaken, Helena trembled and fainted, then slumped in Cain's arms. A gunshot cracked into the sky as Marshal Gus McIntyre rode upon the scene. "You dirty, no good..." "Sir, this isn't what it looks like. Get your hands off my daughter before I kill you on the spot. I'm arresting you for the murder of this man, too." If only Helena could come to and tell her father what really happened, but Cain knew he must escape with his life. He whistled for Buck, who raced to his side. Then he grabbed the saddle horn and swung himself onto his horse. Dust flew as he raced for safety, and a bullet whizzed past his head, barely missing him as he retreated. "Damn you! I will hunt you down and bring you to justice." Gus knelt with his daughter still in his arms. For now, he had to attend to Helena. Days of hard riding through rugged territory, always looking over his shoulder, followed. Close calls haunted him as he made his way farther and farther from Helena, hoping to put distance between himself and the men who pursued him. And that's how we ended up here, Buck. It seems like we're always looking for something around the next bend. Even tonight, I feel like we're supposed to head somewhere in the morning. Tucson? Nogales? We'll find what we're looking for someday, old fella. We should be seeing Saguaros at sunrise." As he drifted off to sleep, he swore he could hear an old familiar melody play in the distance. Cain glimpsed a flash of light, then fell into a deep sleep. "Billy! Billy! Turn off that show and come to the table. Supper's ready."
Aw, Mom, can't I at least watch until the music stops?
"Okay, but put your cap gun away and take your cowboy hat off before coming to eat." 8-year-old Billy Clayton loved westerns. Pretending to be his TV hero, Cain Hartzell, he pointed his toy gun at the bandits and yelled, "Bang! Bang!" He watched the closing credits as Cain and Buck hit the trail, heading to another adventure. The catchy theme song of his favorite show, Saguaros at Sunrise, caused him to hum along, slightly off-key, but with enthusiasm. As the music faded, Billy turned off the television and joined his family for dinner. Cain Hartzell and his faithful steed Buck slept under the twinkling stars of an Arizona sky, completely unaware that life wasn't always what it seemed. When they awake, a new episode in their lives will begin. Thank you for joining me for Into the Night, an anthology series written by Caroline Giammanco, narration and sound design by Nari Kwak, theme music by Nico Rodriguez, and all original music created by Alex Sexton. You can find our links in the show notes. Into the Night can be found on your favorite podcast directory. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoy what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review to help new excursionists to join us. See you next time. And remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths take you into the night. Into the Night is an A Fool's Quest production.